It's the savvy side of 9 to 5. Listen.
Bueller.
Laugh. And learn.
Negotiation. This is what you do in business.
This is The Focus Group with Tim Bennett.
Staunch.
And John Nash.
Keep your clothes looking neat and clean.
We're all business. Except when we're not.
Hey, welcome to The Focus Group. John Nash here with my good friend and co-host Tim Bennett. You can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, and of course YouTube. And we have a new acronym called SLR, which I like. It's subscribe, like, and rate. So if you're at iTunes and you're subscribing to our podcast, by all means, subscribe, like, and rate. Matt wants the ratings because ratings means we may get bumped into the featured.
Oh, featured category.
Featured's a good place to be. Hey, Tim and I are doing a little special here, and we are freshly back from the West Coast. We were the guests of Out in the Vineyard, an incredible event that we attended this year. And we're joined by Skype by the founders of we call it Gay Wine Weekend or Out in the Vineyard. Which do you prefer?
It's Out in the Vineyard. They hosted Gay Wine Weekend.
We're joined by... I believe it will be on the left, Mark Vogler, and on the right, Gary Saperstein. Guys, welcome.
Hey there. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey, you look very recovered.
Oh, we look good. It's all lighting and makeup.
You guys look fantastic, and I got to say, we had an amazing time. So we're going to walk through, all of us are going to walk through. But first, Tim, you had a couple questions about the event and some of the monies it raised, and...
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought we could. I don't know if you want to start with that about the money raised, but one of the final events that we attended was the face-to-face auction, or the auction for face-to-face. Yeah. And who was the auctioneer? He was fantastic.
Love him.
Michael Tate. Michael Tate. He's done this auction. I think this is his sixth year for us. Yeah. And he is on part of the Sonoma, San Francisco Gamemen's Choir.
Yeah, San Francisco Gamemen's Chorus. He lives in San Francisco. And he's one of the lead vocalists from the San Francisco Gamemen's Chorus, and he does auctioneering on the side. And we found him a number of years ago at a benefit where we were like, oh my God, he was amazing. He's fun. He remembers people's names. He gets people to bid. And
he's irreverent.
We're right. He's totally irreverent. It's like, we want him. And he's been great. He comes up every year. He really cares about face-to-face a lot, the organization that we support. So he does it for them.
Well, the nice thing about that event is and for our listeners, John and I arrived on. So we started the week off on Friday, and then the final event, aside from the pool party, which was social, was this fundraiser for the local Sonoma AIDS organization, face-to-face. And I was blown away, as I think John was, about the level of items that you guys had to auction off. How much, do you guys have an idea of how much money you made?
We do. Exactly. We raised $23,500 so far.
We have one outstanding bidder that actually didn't win one of the items. And we're in discussions with which one? It was the Girl in the Fig.
How sweet it is.
We did a dinner from Girl in the Fig donated for 25 people.
Wow!
They loved it so much, even though they didn't actually win the bid. They're trying to come back and do it again.
Right.
So we may add another $2,000 or $3,000 to it, but I think it was great. I mean, in like a 2-hour period, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. It's great. And, the support we get from the communities, you talk about the auction lots that we have, that's all things that, Mark and I put out there, and the community gives and donates. The wine that we have as part of the auction, our size matters a lot. You remember that one? 9-line large format bottles.
This year what was really interesting, you guys, different is we had that one of the bigger items was a trip to Oregon wine country.
Yes, right.
Mm-hmm. And that was amazing when an Oregon wine group up there outside of Portland reached out to us.
Right.
They heard about us and said, we want to contribute to your auction and help you raise funds as well. And that went for, I think, $3,000. Alaska Air was the sponsor for airlines. 3 wineries participated, and a couple from Orlando actually bought that trip.
Yeah, Tim and I, we had a ball, and actually our trip really started Thursday because we went out to and met you in Sonoma for a beautiful dinner, and then we were guests on your show. It's interesting when you host a radio show to be a guest on a show.
It's a small gay radio world.
So remember, turnabout is fair play.
And then Friday was the official kickoff, right?
Right.
And it brought to you had an expo. It was an expo, and it was all at the MacArthur, your host hotel, right?
Correct.
Correct. So it was a VIP reception for VIP pass holders, hotel guests, and then the expo. That last year we started the expo for the first time. There's a lot of businesses, small businesses around Sonoma, who couldn't really come on as a sponsor, really afford or have the budget to the sponsor, but they want to support the gay community as well. Right. And so we started this expo, and it's really sort of evolving into sort of a foodie wine tasting.
Yeah. Oh, it was a ball. And Tim said, what winery had the best pour?
La Crema had heavy pour.
Heavy pour. So La Crema, and it was actually great wine too.
Actually, I will say all of them. The one thing that I don't know, we'll be all over the map here, but the takeaway that we had was the diversity of people from all over the country.
Yep. That
were there. How many different states did you have represented? Do you remember?
We had 16 different states, as well as 3 continents. Well,
That's
we had
right.
3 or 4 couples from Canada, British Columbia, Toronto, Ontario. We did have a couple from Sydney join us, and we had a couple from the UK. So we're sort of reaching out.
Worldwide. We're going global. Global.
Right, but the great thing was, and everyone knows who's been to any events with gay men in particular, is the social aspect of it. And I will tell you, there wasn't one event that we had attended or that we had gone to that we didn't feel like we got our money's worth or we got our time wasted. I mean, it was great. You guys did a great job.
So what I did is our tech, John, is going to run through some pics that I've put together for us, and it's sort of chronological. So first, we're going to have a picture. I think it might be where we stayed. And Mark and Gary, I want to thank you for arranging that. We stayed at the Sonoma Valley.
Sonoma Valley and Best Western.
Best Western, and that is in fact what the pool looks like. Our rooms looked out on that, and I did get to swim in it one day after my bike tour.
One of the best hotel beds I've had in a while.
We both,
comfortable,
guys.
comfortable.
Tim and I compared notes every morning. I'm like, I actually slept. I mean, I really slept, and it was a great mattress. So then I think we go to a picture. That's the radio show. So Mark's on the left. There's and those are the chefs from Texas. Those sexy chefs from Texas.
Right. Chefs and winemakers. Right. So these 2 guys, I think you have the one next to me. That's Ian. And the one next to between you guys is Ryan. Yes. And those 2 guys actually started out as Cordon Bleu in Paris, Cordon Bleu trained chefs, and had a restaurant in Houston for about 8 years and decided we want to make wine. They fell in love with wine. The story was, Ryan was telling me, while they were at the Cordon Bleu, they lived in this small apartment in Paris above a wine shop. And that's where they really ended up falling in love with wine. And after the restaurant, they decided, we want to become winemakers, and spent a couple of years out here training as winemakers. And I think they have a really interesting spin in that they're creating their wines from a chef food perspective.
Yeah,
right?
So pairing and stuff. Yeah.
Instead of the other way around, most winemakers are making it for what their palate is and not thinking necessarily about food because they don't have the chef background. And then they just let the restaurants or the chefs pair the wine.
Right.
These guys are creating the wine with the pairings in mind. And
they were not only are they of course adorable, they're also very cool. So let's now we have some weather pics. I think what's coming up next here, John? Oh,
that was
you took this picture.
So I took this picture. This was an unscheduled stop. I went. John and I separated on Saturday.
Had a great time. I did a bike tour.
Right, and I went to I'll say it wrong, but Kivelstadt and
correct.
Right, and so our guide Connor. We were in the bus and decided to take us on an unannounced visit to where they got the different grapes and the winery.
About that.
I know. Even I haven't done that. Connor's a cutie, huh?
Oh yeah. Well, And yes, he was. And
Yes.
but he was so funny. He had such a great time with us, and it really put us behind a couple of hours to get to Benzinger, because that's where we went next. But he took us up here, and I got off the bus. And I just couldn't believe how beautiful it was, and I just snapped that
Actually,
with my phone.
when Tim sent me that picture to include in our deck, I was like, is that a stock photo? You know, that's sky. We had that gorgeous sky. So then I think there's a picture of me on the... Okay, all right, that's 20 of us guys. Billy Colber and Dave Wahlberg and I are sort of over to the right. I have a funny story about this. So there I am. I have that T-shirt with that thing in the middle. Boom, right there. So I met a guy at the brunch. I sat down next to him, and I said, hey, how are you? And he just kind of looks at me in a funny way. And I said, hey, did you go on any of the wine tours? Yeah, thank you, John. Figured me out, yeah. I said, did you go on any of the wine tours? And the guy looks at me with this very kind of stern look, and he goes, I was on your bike tour yesterday. Ooh. And I was like, sorry, I don't remember you. Blame the Chardonnay. So,
it's the helmet.
Guys, I'm not going to pronounce this correctly, but we got a water bottle with pictograms on it. It was the Gunlock Barn...
You're close. A Gunlock Bun Shoe.
And we know it was like... we call it gun bun.
Right, gun bun. Gun we say.
So that was there. Let's continue with some pictures, and then there's a picture of me. That was our wine tasting. We had a little food to pair with, and I'm across from me is Billy Colber, actually Man About World, and next to him is David Wahlberg, a wonderful travel writer from Toronto, and then a whole rest of our group. And let's go on. All right, so these are from Tim. Tim, you took some art pictures.
Well, there was a tasting room, right? The Kivelstadt. Am I saying that correctly?
You are. Kivelstadt.
Kivelstadt. Okay.
So right outside there was this sign that it pointed to all the wineries. And then this is the barrel room where, again, this was an unannounced part of our trip. We were in Benzinger, and as we were having great fun with the guide, she asked us if we wanted to drink out of the barrel. So we said, of course we did. So she took us down. To where they were making the cab, and so we walked down into the caves there where the wine is, and that's where the barrels are on the right. So that's that.
And then you took a couple more. Oh, okay. So Tim's
was an art picture.
Now Tim was so happy with this little picture on the right of the sunlight coming through the wine in the glass, and he's like, "I'm an artist. This could be Tim's new hobby." Tim doesn't have a hobby, you know. Tim has no hobbies.
Here we go.
Is that strange, guys?
I drink wine.
Now.
Yeah, which one? Drinking?
Yeah, he said wine drinking is his hobby, actually. All right, so let's go on. Let's see what else we got
I think
here.
that's a cool picture.
Was this your Benzinger? That was yours on the right, too. That's a great picture, too, on the right.
Very beautiful. Beautiful. Well, Benzinger's a beautiful winery with not only good wines, but stunning views.
You know, actually, Mark and Gary, I'm just going to say that Sonoma and Napa are very different, aren't they? Do you guys agree? Like, even everything seemed different in Sonoma. It was a really beautiful experience.
They are different. I mean, and that's, if we get down to sort of wine stuff about AVAs and different soils and weather patterns, they are very different for sure.
Right. But, but both are absolutely beautiful. The one thing that's, I think, Sonoma has for it still is there is this definitely more rustic, rural, small town feeling and charm to it.
Right. You're getting walked down into the barrel room. Do you want to taste or somebody like Connor is taking you out.
At the last minute.
Well, let's go up to the vineyard. Whereas, Napa is beautiful. It's a beautiful valley, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But it's become a little like, I call it Wine Street USA, like Main Street USA at Disneyland.
Which a lot of people do say
that.
Like
it, but it's beautiful, but you don't have quite as direct personal experience at some of those larger wineries.
Well, Mark, I think you summed it up. Though you had said that it's a farming community, right? Sonoma is a farming community,
for sure,
and that you could see that in the pictures.
All right, so then here we go. Here's this. Now we're at the incredible Twilight Tea Dance, which was held at the St. Jean Winery. Which, if anybody's been to Sonoma and you've been to St. Jean, then you know that it's an incredibly beautiful property, meticulously maintained, gorgeous setting, and you guys did a wonderful.
You can see we're having a terrible time.
Now we're standing with none other than John Lake from Wells Fargo, who's giving a big hug to Gary. And I don't know if there's anything more after that. Did I have any more? No, John says that's it for the pictures. Okay, so guys, that was my little way of walking us through what was an incredible weekend for Tim and I. From the start to the finish, you both put on an incredible event. And I think it's a remarkable event because it's travel, it's educational, it's clearly fun. We met a lot of great people on this trip. And I forgot one little thing: the tasting dinner on Friday night. That's not a little thing at all. Multiple restaurants were holding these incredible dinners. We were at
Aventine.
Aventine with Muscardini Cellars.
It was yes, exactly. And it was a fantastic. And he was there. The winemaker was there. He came to our table and chatted with us. You guys stopped by. I remember asking Mark what dinner he was at. He goes, "I'm all of them. We're going to every dinner." I don't even think you guys ate that night.
We didn't eat.
Well, we did have a pool party coming up and a tea dance, so we're popping Tic Tacs in the car.
Right, exactly. We did Tic Tacs all weekend long. Now we're eating.
So I would say, big question, and this is open-ended, is was this your best year yet? And what are your plans for 2017?
Okay.
Wow,
yes,
yeah, we think so.
We think so. It seems like every year tends to be our best year,
which is the way you want it to be.
Which is right. We don't want the next year to be the worst year, but and I think part of that comes with we're getting more awareness as a community, as a gay community. Being viable travelers and wine drinkers within the wine industry, as you mentioned, Sonoma and wine is farming. So it's taken Gary and I a few years to get some traction and awareness for this market for us. I mean, we're just people, but we drink a lot. So and so the wine industry is finally understanding that we are travelers. We have the ability to do that. And so with St. Jean approaching us saying, "We want to support you," that's huge. And that site that you saw is just absolutely phenomenal. So I think it was our best year, A, part of that, and B, because of the breadth and reach of people who came. We saw a lot of new faces this year. Yeah. And I think in the past we've probably had 30% from elsewhere. I'd say we haven't looked at all the metrics yet, but I'd say we're probably closer to 50% of people traveling from elsewhere, not just Sonoma. From California, we're probably 50%, and the rest are probably elsewhere.
Right. I think what's happening is we're really becoming like a destination with Gay Wine Weekend for our community, and you could see from the people who were here, it really was people they're food and wine lovers. Right. That's what these people are, whether they've been to wine country or not, they've always wanted to go. These are people who, for the most part, they really love food and wine, and hopefully are giving them the experience of wine country.
Right. It's I think what it comes down to is, without sounding like we're patting ourselves on the back, Gary and I really wanted to, when we started this, we wanted to show the LGBT community what kind of lifestyle a wine country lifestyle is like. Mm-hmm. And it's one of luxury and food and great friends and great wine. And that's why most of our and more wine. That's why we keep the tours and the dinners very intimate. So you get to know the winemakers. Right. I mean, we'll go to a winemaker dinner or a friend's house who happens to be a winemaker, and there's only 12 or 15 people. And we get to really know them and bond and have a great time. And those are the experiences we want to convey to the gay community.
Well, two of my takeaways at the event was the amount of repeat people that it was their third, fourth year that they've gone, which is a huge testament to the event, because John and I would like to return as well. The other thing was, somebody had asked me the question and I could not answer it, and they said, "Is there another event that pulls together this amount of people? Take away Pride, take away the cruises." But in terms of putting together an event that brings together the LGBT community, and let's face it, predominantly gay community, there's not another event like it. And that's what I really loved about it. There's not another event like it in the country.
As far as we know, we Google it every few months. Wine, gay wine event, LGBT wine. And we
keep popping up,
and we are the only ones who keep popping up. So as far as we know,
the only event, it's not wine driven, but really what's been a huge inspiration for us is Aspen Gay Ski Week.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Aspen Gay
Ski Week. And that really is, that's been a huge inspiration in terms of, it's the same demographic. It's not circuit party boys. It's professional, mostly coupled gay men and women. And so that's really what we are. I mean, Aspen is a luxury destination, much like Sonoma is a luxury destination. And when we went to it the first time, we said, why are we not doing this here where we live? We're close to San Francisco. More people are moving here. People are constantly asking Gary and I, where do we go? Yes. What wineries do we go to? Where do we
every
eat?
Day.
Almost every day. And so that was really the genesis for Gay Wine Week.
Yeah, so when we grow up, we want to be like Aspen.
Well, listen, thank you guys for joining us, and thank you for hosting us. If for information for next year, where can our listeners log into to start getting information? Is it outinthevineyard.com?
Outinthevineyard.com.
You got it.
Perfect. It's Mark Vogler and Gary Saperstein with Out in the Vineyard, and hosted us at Gay Wine Weekend, an event that you need to go to. So thanks for joining us here on the Focus Group. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Guys.
Great to see you.
Thanks. It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. That was our Gay Wine Weekend special. And you got all those pictures curated, which was great.
Well, your hobby's photography and drinking. You got a hobby, Tim. You got a hobby.
You got it in. You got it in. Hey, we'll catch us on our next special. Find us here at focusgroupradio.com to find all our information, all the platforms where you can listen and watch us. And as John says, subscribe, like, and rate.
SLR.
On iTunes. Take care.
Join the focus group on all forms of social media. It's easy. And like good marketers, our branding is uniform across all platforms. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope at Focus Group Radio. Again, join the conversation across all of our social media platforms at Focus Group Radio.